Well, all right. I see you have a technical wizard with you to help get you through this.
That's exactly. I would not be sitting. You would not be able to see me had it not been for our daughter.
Oh, with all due respect to the people around you, who we do respect, we've done this before and you managed to pull it off. So give yourself a little credit. But I'm going to give you credit right out of the gate for classing the place up today and having a conversation with us. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Nicholas Guest, one of the all-time greats in our business, but not only one of the all-time great professionals and actors, but one of the all-time great human beings who repeatedly, more than once, has tolerated my presence on a Christmas Carol production. Welcome to the show, buddy. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you for including me on this. Yeah, it's just always a pleasure. Thank you,
I,
Ethan.
I just had a conversation about you with Keith Farley, our director of A Christmas Carol. And actually, a short time ago, we interviewed your daughter, who's got a movie in Academy Award contention called Let's Call the Whole Thing Off, which stars you.
Well,
And
I'm a wonderful ensemble. It's an amazing group of people, actually.
oh, see, that's
Carradine brothers, yeah,
uh,
and
well, I mean, let's
my
be
wife.
honest. They, I mean, some people may know who the Carradine brothers are, but everyone's going because Nicholas Guest is in it. Let's
Uh,
be honest. And we'll tell those guys what's up. How you been?
it's been exciting actually. We're getting staying on the subject of our daughter's film, it's getting such a fantastic response. I mean, for example, it's at the Lemley, North Hollywood, and
Hmm.
last night, yet another wonderful turnout, so we can't ask.
Isn't that a cool thing when your kids do well?
It truly is.
I don't know if our children fully understand how thrilling that is to see, to witness when they start succeeding at what they're passionate about. And this is an exciting time for you. I mean, we
Yeah,
talked at a Christmas Carol, actually. You handed me the flyer for it.
I
And
did.
it's one of the things that I kept with me in my pocket during a barrage of crazy. And I just thought that was such a cool, like, father to father moment of, you're like, hey, more exciting than anything else is this movie coming out, which, by the way, we're thrilled about. We did an interview, we included the preview. We're going to do a part two. And what's it like being directed by your daughter, by the way? Well, I've got you on the subject.
It's really wonderful, and she also helps us tremendously. She tapes us, for auditions, and
Yeah.
so we're really used. And I was on a sitcom call years ago, and she was an extra on it, and one of the final episodes, and she did something as part of a wedding party, and she took out a handkerchief, and she kind of stole the whole scene. It was just amazing. But
Wow.
anyway, she's so gifted, and so it's fun having that. We feel so fortunate, and there's humor always, but she really knows what she wants, and it's wonderful. I love being
Yeah.
directed, by the way, as a rule. A million years ago, I worked with David Fincher, just a very, very small thing. And I love that from the get-go, he's saying, okay, you move here and then you cross here and you go around the table. I thought, yes, just tell me what to do because he has this vision, of what he wants. So I love that.
You know, um, that's an interesting take on it because I've heard other people directed by David Fincher who are like, my God, by like the 70th take. I was like, I was like, what are we doing here? It's
Well,
like that old,
there is one other thing that I'll never forget, which is I worked on the movie Trading Places, and there was an
yes.
actor. I really love this actor too. Unfortunately, he's not with us anymore. But he said, I don't really need to sit down in the scene. And Landis said, you do, and I want you to sit. It was very funny. It was like, it was a bit of I mean, it wasn't that serious, but it was funny because he had his own conception. And Landis said, no, I'm actually directing this, so you must sit.
Wow. Good for
Yeah,
Landis, actually.
yeah, it's fine.
Did you like working with Landis while we're on the subject?
I had a good time. I mean, I don't, everybody has their experience with whoever it is, but
Yeah.
it was, well, first of all, it's a brilliant script, Trading Places. Oh, why do I love him? Okay, so I was working with Basically, we were the snotty friends of Dan Aykroyd, and we
Yes.
were in this building called the Armory Building up on Park Avenue. And we went to the bathroom, the four of us, but we were on a break, and we started singing just as a joke because the acoustics are unbelievable in those old buildings in New York.
Hmm.
I kid you not, John Landis walked in and said, "You know what? This is actually very funny. Write a song tomorrow, and we'll shoot it tomorrow."
Good.
So Robert Curtis Brown, who's a brilliant actor, he and I got together. The next day, we had the lyrics. It was four-part harmony, and it ended up in the movie. And Robert and I had to join ASCAP. It was
There you
so
go.
spontaneous, incredible. It's
You
the
got to love
tennis
moments
scene.
like that.
Yeah,
It's the
yeah.
what? I'm sorry, you cut out there.
Tennis court scene where we break out into song. It was just priceless. When you get to
Yeah.
do stuff like that.
Well, the cast in that movie's fantastic.
The old timers and just
Yeah.
I would watch them like just like hit their mark and like say, would this be okay? Would you like me to stand closer? Just like so cool. Yeah.
Was that Don Amici that was saying he should stand?
Don Amici, unbelievable. What a kind man. It was just
Yeah, really.
what a
Yeah.
career. I mean, people, my God, decades, right? Yeah.
I got to tell you, man, you've been a part of some pretty Hallmark movies.
Mhm.
Meaning Hallmark, meaning legendary, and
Yes.
they've gone to they've casted the right guy. You're the right guy for a lot of this. I was talking to your daughter a bit. We were talking about her film, but it's impossible for her to say she's directing you without getting into so many of your legendary moments.
Yeah.
And it's like I like remember the Long Riders and
He might be carrying a hideout. I bet he is. He knows. I know he knows.
Pour me one, Bob. You look spooked, Charlie.
Like hell. Nothing spooks me, Jesse. You know that.
Now I've been thinking about the Platte City Bank. It's gonna be a big one.
We ain't too sure.
Why not?
I don't know. You're a hard man to do business with, Jesse.
It's crooked.
What'd you say?
Said it's not straight. I really like this old sampler. Ma gave this to me for my wedding day. Is that straight?
I shot Jesse James.
Robert Carradine and I were talking about you at breakfast, actually.
Really
Yeah, and how
great.
you know, Long Riders and Star Trek 2 for my buddy Nicholas Meyer, and like how we
Oh,
basically grew up with your work. And it's impossible to spot a flawed Nicholas Guest performance anywhere.
right.
Yeah.
Fortunately, any of them that might be flawed are buried somewhere.
Yes.
That can happen. And you know what? If you just keep working, that's what happens. But, basically every film experience I've had has been, if there's something wrong, there's always been invariably something great about it. One of them was Appointment with Death. I got to do John Gielgud, Carrie
Yeah.
Fisher played my wife. I mean, it's like Peter Ustinov. I thought,
Right.
uh,
Piper
The
Laurie.
Call. What? Pardon?
Piper
Yeah,
Laurie.
Piper Laurie. She played my mother. I mean, like, oh my, unreal. She was so great.
I mean, if anyone could make you sense a presence of evil, it's Piper Laurie, An Appointment with Death.
Yeah,
What's interesting is that's directed by another friend of mine who I loved, but every actor I've talked to, with the exception of you, hated, which is Michael Winner.
it was rough. I had this very, very specific, a friend of mine who was actually a casting director many years ago, gave me some tips as to how to work with Michael, and he would say something, and I'd go, okay, that sounds like a good idea. You know what I mean? Everybody has to figure out how to work with whoever it
Mhm.
is, and
Yeah,
it was great advice.
that's why like a psychological aspect or psych classes are always good for actors because it was funny. I met one of the actors from Aliens who was telling me about his story with Michael Winner, and he hated him. It was like the third or fourth story about that, and he's remembered in our memorial for A Christmas Carol because he got involved with my daughter's charity work, and this actor was like, "I don't know how you can
Oh,
stand to be in his presence," and
right.
I'm like, having never worked with him but knowing him through Warner Brothers, I get a Christmas
Sure.
card from him every year. He sent me an autograph book and he calls just to see how my family is. It's the strangest thing in our business. It's like,
Yeah. I mean, yeah. There are many sides to people,
yeah.
and I mean, he invited me actually to his home in London after the filming. I was the only one who went, and it
Mhm.
was a fascinating experience. He had editing rooms in the house, and we talked. Obviously, he was, he knew everything there is to know about movies, so
Yeah.
it was fascinating. Yeah.
In fact, the way I found out he died was because we didn't get a Christmas card one year. And I remember thinking, like, it's such an old school ritual, but one my mom employs. And now it's one of those things where I go, God, that's so odd. He always sends us a Christmas card and he follows it up with a call to make
Unbelievable.
sure it
Yeah.
arrives. So I called his place and that's how I found out. I'm like, but it
Oh,
wasn't, it's
yeah.
just one of those things. It's like, but it was so funny because I
Yeah.
saw Appointment with Death recently because I knew we'd be doing a
Oh,
Christmas
really?
Carol together. And
That's funny.
it's on Tubi for those who want to see it.
Oh, okay. Yeah. It was an extraordinary experience. Unbelievable cast, obviously.
Yeah,
Amazing.
and
Yeah.
and it's got Carrie Fisher, David Soul, Hutch, um,
Yeah.
who also recently. It's just one of those Hallmark classics, but it's a Agatha Christie mystery, so it's like on the in the pantheon of like interesting mystery movies. And
Yes.
Michael Winter told me a story and I wasn't even going to talk about this, but Michael Winter said, I said, give me a John Gielgud story. And he goes, I remember he told me he asked if we would be done by 3 shooting a scene
Mm,
because I have to watch Starsky and Hutch, Michael. And
that
I don't
sounds
know.
like him. I
I
have
don't
my
know.
own, I have two fun little stories from him because I mean, I had albums as a kid, listen, of him doing Shakespeare, so it's
Wow.
extraordinary. So I would sit near him. And he told me about one of his very first auditions for whoever was the Great Dame. This could have been in the 1920s or whatever. He said, Nicholas, I was to come across the stage and light a candle. I was terribly nervous. And the Great Dame said, You are an amateur. And he said it took him months to recover from that. But before he told me that, oh yes, first of all, I waited in the lobby. We had the same call time at the hotel, and the doors of the elevator opened exactly. He was exactly on time, of course. And then I was just really nervous. And then he spotted me standing near one of the trailers, and he sort of almost came up upon me. He said, "I understand you should be playing Lennox in this film." That was my character's name. And I went, yes, that's true. But anyway, he was so kind and so many stories, obviously. I mean,
That's
just
like the mark
beautiful.
of a true pro, right? Two things about your story. He's
Yeah.
100% on time,
Yeah.
at least in the moment. And
Yeah.
and he knows what everyone's job is,
He does. He does.
you know?
And he would sit there when he wasn't needed doing a crossword puzzle. The other person that I was in bliss because I had all the albums of Peter Ustinov's, and what he gave me was I'll never forget. He accepted doing little sketches with me, so we'd be sitting waiting, and he'd say, "He's coming now, Nick. Be careful. He's coming around the corner. Yeah, careful. He's obviously a spy." And it was like, "Are you kidding? I'm doing this
Yeah.
with Peter." It was unbelievable.
I mean, one of the all-time great legends. I mean, that's the fun thing about Appointment with Death is it's like a hallmark. It's a combination of the modern and old school Hollywood, on the
You're
same
right.
set. You have
Very
the
much.
guys from Spartacus and all Ustinov being Ustinov, and just like to do that with John Gielgud and Ustinov and then have like
Oh,
the modern era like match wits. It's just one of those exceptional. Like it's almost like you have to watch it for the performances,
you're
yourself
right.
included, yourself
Oh,
included. But
very
it's
kind.
like,
Very.
um, no, it's true, man. It's true. But Ustinov, people said he was a great raconteur. That he would.
Um,
Is that true?
um, Oh, so one of the stories, because he was ego free, right? He told me, he said, so Nicholas, I was going across an airport, I believe it was in Minneapolis, and this gentleman came over and said, "You're in pharmaceuticals." And I said, "Well, I'm not in pharmaceuticals per se, although I admire the industry quite a bit." And this guy finally left and said, "I saw you at the conference and you are in pharmaceuticals." And he didn't deny it. It was just like he gave this guy his moment as opposed to saying, "How dare you? I'm the great Peter Ustinov." And that really summed
Yeah,
him up for me.
yeah.
My God. I said, "What are you doing next?" He said he was going off to play Beethoven in German. I mean, he was a Renaissance man. He really was.
Yeah, yeah.
Absolutely.
I admire that. And I loved his take as Poirot too. I mean, David Suchet is an incredible talent, but
Oh,
I think Ustinov played it with almost
oh,
like a tongue-in-cheek kind of like just it's just a refreshing, even if you're a fan of Agatha Christie's novels
very
and all
much
that's
so.
based. It's just like an interesting shakeup but between the two of them. But it's just one of
It
those
is.
like
Yeah,
Ustinov is so good.
very much.
Richard Johnson, who was the star of The Haunting and who was a regular on this show, told me he had to do Khartoum with Ralph Richardson, and he felt terrible because
Wow.
the production was going to give him billing over Ralph Richardson, and he felt like
Oh
I
my
have
God.
to,
Yeah.
yeah. So he's like, I remember walking up to Ralph Richardson and apologizing, saying, I think you, given what you've done, should have top billing over me. And Ralph
Right.
Richardson's response to him was something like, "My dear boy, don't be ridiculous." He's like,
Yes.
"It's never about
Exactly.
the billing." He's like, he's like, he's
Right.
like, it was just like he had this like very human. Like Richardson was taken
Oh,
aback. Like, are you seriously stopping me to talk to me about where my billing should be on this thing? Uh, but
exactly. Yeah.
and then like Milius would tell me stories about Ustinov, but also like Max von Sydow, he would do Conan, and then he'd be like, he ended Conan on a Friday, and they're like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "Well, tomorrow I'm in London and I'm doing a play for 6 days, and then I'm doing a commercial in Scandinavia." Like the goal was to always work and never have a free day. It was
Yes.
like, and it was so
It,
refreshing to hear that at Warner Brothers because everyone had some sort of like posturing in their schedule and whether they would do a thing or not. But the Europeans were like, no, no, I need to be employed. That's
that's
what I
right.
do. I'm an
That's right.
actor, you know?
Exactly right. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
My
kind of,
first
it's,
exposure to Ralph Richardson was it's just like brings me back to another time and place. I I was in eighth grade and I got up the nerve to ask a girl out. This was in New York, and I said, "Would you like to go to a movie?" Really, imagine that now, right? And she said,
right.
"Okay, I would enjoy that." I mean, literally like dialogue from the 20s or something. I picked her up. She was like 12 blocks from my parents' apartment. We walked just 3 or 4 blocks. We come in. I didn't even know what the movie was. It was Long Day's Journey into Night
Wow.
with Ralph Richardson and Katharine Hepburn. We're sitting there for hours. That's a long play. We leave the theater, and I was just already blown away by Richardson and everyone actually in the cast. And I said, "Did you enjoy it?" And she said, "I thought it was very interesting." And I walked her
Yeah.
home. It was like talk. It was. I felt like now I look back, it was like being in one of those old movies. Do you know what I mean? There was this
Yeah.
Curtis. It was very funny.
I mean, I look back at some of these like, not unheralded, but, and not forgotten, but these performances that all these Titans gave us.
Yes.
Um, every moment, and the thing about Richard Johnson is he was close friends with Olivier, so he was like our window, like you're our window to John Gielgud and Ustinov. It's
Yeah.
kind of like a Turner Classic Movies conversation of like,
Yeah.
what were these guys like? Because we only know them from, you know, that Hamilton woman or
Right.
whatever it is,
Oh,
you
unbelievable.
know? And
Yeah.
that's the thing. Like, Nicholas, you'll always be able to say, like, look, whether it's Eddie Murphy, Chevy Chase,
Sure.
William Shatner, also, I'm on the same set with John Gielgud, and
Yeah.
who was a minimalist. He was like,
Yes.
and that's I think what I loved about his performance is that he almost like played it restrained, as like the raise of the eyebrow was like the grand gesture or something, in a
Exactly.
way.
It's so true. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Most
I mean,
true.
it's funny because you should really write a book, but the book, I mean, you can write an entire book on what your career was, but one of the interesting things would be a book on how to deal with different high profile personalities.
Interesting. Yes. Yes. That's
What's the
true.
blueprint? What's the blueprint like when Shatner and Nimoy are on a set versus
Yeah.
when Ustinov was on a set?
Very
Um,
interesting. So, when I was in my 20s, I got a phone call from one of the kindest men that ever lived who produced Arthur Miller's first plays. His name was Robert Whitehead. He looked like Clark Gable. He was like this incredibly suave, but really kind and very brilliant man. He called me up. I was 23 or something, and he said, Nick, I was wondering if you're free Saturday to do a play reading with Katharine Hepburn. I got to the her brownstone. She was living on the east side of New York, and upper whatever in the 50s, and I got there about an hour early. So I kept walking around the block and walking around the block, and I came in, and she answered the door, and I have to say that I was absolutely terrified.
right.
But what I learned is from that is I shouldn't have said even anything, just kind of gone in. Do you know what I mean? Because she
Yeah.
was thinking about a million different things. So each and every step of the way of whoever I happen to be, you have to kind of sense what are they doing now? What do they need? What do they not want you to do or say even? Do you know what I mean? There's like it's
Yeah.
very interesting. It's a whole process.
That is the hallmark of being a professional, which is very different, I think, from the mentality of people who feel they need to be a star.
Yeah.
My sister's godfather was Howard Strickland, who was the head of publicity for Louis B. Mayer and MGM, like right up until like the maybe 1971 or something.
Hmm.
And I remember him saying, your job is not just to make the movie great. Your job is to be great where anyone may encounter you.
There you
And
go.
and he'd say, you're not to get into trouble. You're to pose for every photograph and be ready to go. You're to sign every autograph and you are to
That's right.
be the star. And it was so interesting. And I feel like Heckburn was part of that era,
Oh,
of,
remarkable.
but you're like that too. Keith Farley and I were just talking about you this morning on another like commentary Zoom for a Christmas Carol where we're like, on our production board, you were the Mickey Hatcher, which meant, it's a Dodgers reference, and I don't even like baseball, but it makes sense. But because we could put Nick Guest's name, Nicholas Guest, Honorable Nicholas, we could put his name on any character, and we said, he gives us so much confidence because he's not only a complete pro, he will show up and say, like, this is my part, that's my part, whatever. But if you lost Scrooge or you lost Cratchit, or you lost one of these parts, he could do it all.
Oh, very
So it was
kind.
like having a master like thespian in the ranks that's like, just hand me those sides.
Yeah, I had a great time. What a great evening that was.
Oh,
Fantastic.
dude. You know, one of the things I think makes it special, in addition to your talent and the performance, is when you do something for an audience like that, where many of the guests are survivors of or fighting pediatric cancer or NMOSD, or, this year we had 100 children from the Braille Institute.
Incredible. Oh my God.
They're
Unbelievable.
rooting for you. Like they're so indebted to you doing the performance to begin with. I get kind of emotional because a lot of the
Sure.
conversations come flooding back, but it's not like we bought a ticket and we expect something. It's
Right.
like, it's more like, wow, they're doing this for us. So there's like this vested interest in seeing the cast succeed.
Beautiful. Yeah, truly.
And of course you always do. I mean, you've done it with us twice, and we had a Long Riders reunion. I think it was you, Keith Carradine, and Peter Jason, who we lost in February.
Yeah, he was such a wonderful man. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I've never been to a memorial like that. To know who
Oh,
a human
yeah.
being was
Yes.
is to in one way is to attend a memorial,
Yeah, that's right.
and it was like you know how like Lawrence of Arabia starts? It was kind of like that, but not
Yeah.
Lawrence of Arabia has a mix of negative and positive in that
Sure.
funeral setting, but
Yeah.
it was like John Carpenter was not only there and spoke, but stayed all through the reception,
Yeah.
you know, and Walter Hill, but they were like these are kind of notorious gruff guys.
They are, but great.
Yeah.
Peter told me that he was doing a movie with Carpenter, and then he did another one, and he was being paid more. And he said, "John, what's going on?" He said, "What do you mean? You're doing even better than I." Whatever. It was just like just such a warm,
Yeah.
experience.
Yeah. You know, but we did early days of Christmas Carol. In fact, that's the reason we didn't go back to you for a couple of years because I remember like we
Oh
did
no.
it in like a roadside like strip mall,
Ah,
and it was a mess. It was just as from a producer's perspective, it wasn't the event you wanted to. I mean, it was a success, and we were
right.
kind of on one in one way amazed we pulled it off, but I felt like the actors didn't really have the setting or the surroundings they needed. But there is a great photo of you, Keith, and Peter backstage, and I it's one of my favorite photos, but
Oh,
it shows Nicholas as a pure pro because it's
oh,
total chaos around this picture. But he's like
no.
right there, like I'm ready to do it. And we did it on this
Yeah.
small stage and
Yes.
every every bit like the intense performance. And you made it's a pivotal moment in the Christmas Carol history. We've done it 5 times. You did the joke first, which is I am Mr. Ian Buchanan. Opposite
Hmm.
Ian Buchanan is Scrooge.
Aha.
And I remember standing there with Mark Amato, who's produced every third Hallmark Christmas movie in the audience. And that part's coming up, and we're like, well, we're going to see if it works. And
Yeah.
you did that. And he's like, well, what kind of stupid made up name is that? And the
Hmm.
audience goes nuts. But I was like, Nicholas sold it. It worked. It worked well. It
Oh.
was like, you know, and it's remained in the script ever since, regardless of who plays Scrooge, Perlman, or this year, Kurtwood. How was Kurtwood Smith, Nicholas?
He was amazing, actually. He was really remarkable. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Perfect.
we we met him for this. He jumped in
Mhm.
after 15 minutes to decide. He's a
Yeah.
last minute replacement. I'm backstage in the green room with him. I don't think anyone's there yet. I hadn't had a chance to. I don't think you had gotten there, and he
Hmm.
goes, just me and him in the green room, and he goes, so what's expected of me? And I said, well, run through it wardrobe, run through it too, dinner around 5:36, maybe a trip to the green red carpet. And he looks at me and he goes, 5 days. You give me 5 days to do this. And so I go, it's actually 4 more than you need, Kurtwood. So get the fuck out there. He started laughing and he goes, I knew this would be a fun production. You know, it was like an icebreaker, basically. You know, I'm like, what?
So great. Yeah.
5 days, you know, it's like, come on, you're reading it. You are the man that I think everyone in there was so good, so on point.
He was
And of course,
wonderful.
you got like we lost Robert Carradine that day,
We did. We did.
and you jumped in and actually even took some of his real estate, which again, the Mickey Hatcher. It's like just if
Yeah.
it doesn't
Yeah.
work out, or we're all volunteers. That's the thing. And
That's
I
the
always
beauty of
wanted to
it.
know, you can give me this impression. You show up at this thing. Like, what does an actor think walking into the Saban to do this?
I mean, I feel like it's a privilege. It's an honor to be part of this. And I start to right away see people I know and that have worked with in the past. And I was like, it becomes like a family,
Yeah.
people, yeah. Dieter, was it Dieter who was there?
Yeah, Dieter.
I
Dietrich.
did a animated. I was on quite a few episodes on an animation thing, and he was so warm, and he had invited the whole cast to his house for some wrap party, and he was just incredibly kind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very, well, look, to to put it in like a Latin way, no asshole shows up for this. This is a chair like
Yeah,
only like there is some heroic element to every person because
True.
The guys unpacking the U-Hauls, just like the actors on stage, they're all volunteers.
Yes.
So they show up because there's something about coming together that has a bigger meaning in it all. And that's the
Exactly.
one
Yeah.
thing I get. I don't get to see the performance until I see it stream,
Oh, okay.
but I do get to hear from a lot of
Hmm.
people in the lobby. And it's always the kids who, probably have the most to say, you
Yeah.
know. And I think,
Yes.
having lived at a hospital for a time, I think,
Yeah.
they can't always put it into words what it means
Yeah.
to be there, but they try to, you
They
know,
do. Wow.
you know.
Huh.
And one of the cooler moments was a young kid from the Braille Institute got dropped off by his mom, and his mom goes, "I'm going to find parking, so go on in."
Hmm.
And the guy who built the Foley equipment saw him and goes, "I'll walk him in," and got him in there and put him on the red carpet. And he goes, "Hey man, you're on the red carpet." And he's like,
Ah,
"I'm on the red carpet." He kept saying it over and over. He's like, "I'm on the red carpet,"
so
you
great.
know? And it was just one of those things where they feel like they matter, you know?
Yes. Yes. Oh my God.
So I see a lot of the sort of the atmosphere. Why the actors are focused on their job, I'm not sure they get those moments, but I get
Yeah.
those moments because people be like, "You're not going to believe this," or "This person wants to say something."
Sure.
But man, I'll tell you, they cheered for you. You lead off the cast intro video.
Oh, that's funny.
So you're at the top of the lineup for this one, or it's Kurtwood Smith and then you. It's like you two guys are at the top, but it was, and I think he jumped you in line because he's the last minute addition. So the editor's like, he's going up front, and we're just moving the music. you know?
Yeah.
But it was just one of those things where I'm indebted to you, Nicholas. I mean, you're
Thank you.
to have an actor of your talent and skill set, and like I was telling your daughter in her interview about her new film, let's call the whole thing off, Screaming Now at Lemony. Go to the Academy website for more.
Yes, please go. It's wonderful.
It is wonderful. We were when we were talking when we were in her interview. I said your father makes such a much greater impression when you meet him because in
Hmm.
addition to the skill set, he's an entirely graceful personality. He's entirely gracious,
Hmm.
and it's tough to not like Nicholas Guest. It's tough. It's hard to not like Nicholas. I keep looking for a reason, Nicholas, and I can't seem to find one. But we're indebted to what you did, and I really wish one of the things we should do is sit down and watch Appointment with Death and record your audio commentary with all the
That would be very
stories.
funny. Yeah, be fun.
It
By
would
the
be fun.
way, I do have to add that my wife is in our daughter's film, Pamela
Yes,
Guest. She's extraordinary in it. She
of
really
course.
is stand up. So among everybody else, but yeah, and of course, our daughter is brilliant. Yeah.
Well, I love the cast. I think it's the greatest. Ed Begley. The
Oh,
Carradines are good. I mean, Keith Carradine is a lot, in my mind, a lot like you in terms of like,
he's the
you
sweetest
know,
guy. Great.
yeah, just we're doing a Christmas Carol, and I'm like, yeah, and he's like, all right.
Yeah, exactly. We filmed where our daughter won the best audience comedy thing in at Newport, and he's up in Santa Barbara. He drove down for it. That's
Yeah,
Keith.
great. Yeah.
Incredible.
Again, another guy that kind of shocks you by how fantastic he is. I mean, I was at Roscoe's with Peter Jason when we asked him to
Hmm.
do a Christmas Carol that the two of you were in a few years back, Christmas Carol number two. And he was like, "What day?" Yeah, yeah, I can do it. It was just like that. It was like calling a friend to get together for a football game or something.
Right.
And
Yeah.
you knew right away. You know right away who's good and who's not great, you know.
It's true. That's
But
kind of true. Yeah.
I am so actually on a side note though, Nicholas, there may be a sequel in the works for Let's Call the Whole Thing Off. Let's Call the Whole Thing
Yeah.
Off again or two or
We'll see. We'll see. But the response has been phenomenal, and we're of course very proud of her. Yeah. So
yeah.
thank you for
Excellent
that.
job and she said she shot it in Studio City, which I was amazed that you were
Yeah.
able to
I
pull that
mean,
off.
basically, Ed Begley is one of the most generous people in the world, and we filmed so much at his place, so it was extraordinary, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We were laughing because I used to see him at the Studio City Farmers Market with his like environmentally friendly like cleaner or whatever it was.
Sure. Yeah.
And like he was out there like meeting the people. Do you have a favorite moment? We're gonna take your daughter's film out of the lineup because clearly that's your favorite moment. So do you have a second favorite moment? Okay, let's take Christmas Carol out of it because that's clearly your second favorite moment. But do you have a third favorite career moment where you're on a set or something and you're like, this is the kind of thing I'm going to remember for a lifetime?
Well, actually, I mean, Long Riders, when I looked over, and first of all, I liked Walter immediately, and I saw David Carradine. I mean, all of them. I just thought I couldn't believe I was there. I just couldn't believe I was standing there. This was shot mostly in Georgia,
Yeah,
and I was nervous, but it was good nervousness. Do you know what I mean? I was
right.
excited, and Stacy Keach, I was, in awe of his work, and Keach brother. They were all great. It was just that was a particularly extraordinary experience. Yeah, that was.
Yeah, and not only
There
an
was a,
extraordinary.
I did a Christmas Carol at the Ford's Theater,
Did you?
and Amy Carter, daughter of Jimmy, said, "Daddy, I liked it. We were invited to the White House to perform for the cabinet, and
Wow.
Jimmy Carter came out on stage. That was the most nervous, if you were to ask that. That was the most nervous I've ever been in my life about anything. He came out before went on stage. We did selected scenes or whatever. He came out and spoke about um, his love for Dickens. He'd read all of Dickens. I thought, oh my God, oh my
Yeah.
God. After just came to up to each and every one of us to thank us, along with his wife, actually. That was a fairly extraordinary experience, I must say.
Oh, yes, that's
Yeah,
going to be difficult to top doing it for the cabinet. I mean, Dickens, there's so much I
yeah, that
personally
was
get out of
awesome.
every concept on every line of the story. And it's one of those rare moments where every role has some high point of significance in the whole trajectory of the thing and everyone has some sort of important meaning and just like on this way to realizing everyone knows now that the mission is to get Scrooge to become the person he's always supposed to have been. Only Scrooge doesn't get
Yes,
it, you know.
right.
I don't know. I don't. I maybe that's why I like it so much.
Oh,
Um,
I can't get enough of it. I mean, yeah, I never get tired of it ever. Yeah, it's
Neither do
just,
I. And I
it's
can watch
powerful.
it. I mean, my favorite version is the one we do every year because it's done with so much love. But you
Sure.
can't get tired of watching every actor take a crack at Scrooge. It's so
True. Yeah.
it
Yeah.
it never gets old. And I'm surprised like Bravo Channel doesn't have like dueling Christmas Carol week or something where people
I agree.
vote.
Yeah. Yeah. That
But
would be,
Jimmy Carter's a pretty good guy to have in the audience. Did you play to him when you were doing
oh,
it?
I was so scared. I played Scrooge as a young man, and I also played, the nephew. So, and I also had to sing in it a little,
Mm.
as it's running across the stage, something or other. But it was magical. Yeah, that's well at the Ford's Theater too. It's beautiful theater.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, smaller than I thought it would be.
Yes, yes. But needless to
But
say,
I guess it was good size for the time.
I think so. I think so. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
right across the street is the pillow Lincoln died on.
I know there's you see I think I can't remember exactly, but I think I might have seen his spectacles and
Yeah,
something on a desk. Oh my God, the
they have
boots,
it.
his
Like
boots.
his blood is still on the pillow. Now, a scientist today would be like, we can bring him back through cloning, but
Okay.
it is kind of interesting to be in the box there
Yes,
where he was. And I mean,
yes,
that's a pretty good historical moment for you, I think, doing a Christmas Carol there.
it was, and that's why like when you bring it up, I'm in, I'm in. I mean, it's like I think it's one of the greatest of all time. It's such an
Well,
important story.
you're in because you're a class act. Let's be honest. You I mean, it's fun for you, I'm sure, but you are one of those rare human beings where they understand the heroics of their role without
Hmm.
mentioning it. Like you step up and you're like, I understand what we're doing here. So, and
Yeah.
there's some great footage of you. I edited the photo album of this year of all the footage
Oh,
and the
really?
pictures for the end credits. And there's like video comes up of you on the mic, and then there's photos and things of the actor. There's some fun stuff of you this year. I'll send you a
Okay.
link so you can see it. But very
Great.
proud of you, Nicholas. Proud
Thank you.
to.
Proud of what you do. I am.
Oh,
It's true.
you are without a doubt one of our favorite personalities in every sense. In every sense of the word, the hero we say you are. And if you look closely in the Long Riders, there's a scene where David Carradine is asleep. He's supposed to be awake, but he's asleep. Peter Jason
Uh,
pointed it out to me. Do you know the scene I'm talking about?
I don't. I want to watch it again. Yeah, it's very
It's the
funny.
one where they're all at the bar before the big raid at the end. I mean, you
Oh,
finish off the movie, but
yeah, that's funny.
uh,
Yeah.
did you like working with Walter Hill?
Oh my God, yes. Yes. He's just he's classy. He just knows exactly what he wants and is just so warm and has humor, you know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah,
And
he was it.
that'll work, let's move on. That'll work.
Yeah, yeah,
Good writer
uh,
too.
yeah, yeah. He is. Death Wish, I think, was one of his scripts.
I'm
Another
not
Michael
sure.
Winner movie.
I don't remember it to
Yes.
be honest. I don't know. But anyway, he was just lovely person, wonderful. Yeah.
Do you ever look at your films? Can you can you watch yourself on screen, or are you one of those actors who doesn't want to?
I do every now and then. Actually, I have a interview coming up in January. Some people interviewed me about a movie I was in called Nemesis,
Hmm.
and
And
I have to take a look at that now, obviously, because I want to be prepared for the questions, as opposed to,
yeah.
and that was a while ago. These things come back, you forget almost some of the things you've done,
Hmm.
but I've looked at all of these experiences as this amazingly fortunate adventure. That's how I see it. Truly.
Yeah, and it has been.
Yeah.
Give me a moment from the Christmas Carol production. I can cut into the special features of this. Nicholas Meyer. I was going to say that's your director from Star Trek 2. Nicholas Guest. Nicholas Guest shows up at the Saban Theater,
Wow.
ready to take on multiple roles
Mhm.
in Ethan's butchering of the Dickens classic. Keith Farley directing. Keith Farley may save it. Ethan will try to ruin it. Keith Farley will save it. Nicholas' performance will bring it home. Do you have like a favorite? Do you have a moment that stands out in the entire day?
It was actually fun to have to step in to do, Bobby couldn't get there or whatever,
Yeah.
to do that part because I didn't have a chance to think about it. But I think I'll speak like this. I'm not sure it'll just to change it up or something. I don't know. It was just
Sorry, we're gonna
fun.
do a take two, which is
Please,
what you don't get a take two at the Christmas Carol. This is it. It's one at bat. So
one take.
yeah, one take. So you walk in and you what is the unexpected
Yeah.
moment for an actor in a Christmas Carol?
I'm part of this wonderful ensemble of people, so it's just it's bliss actually, that kind of
Uh,
experience. It really is. Yeah.
well, if it's one thing we're indebted to and one person we're indebted to, it's Nicholas Guest. Always a class act, and I I'll always owe Stephen Peterman a mafia debt for introducing us.
One of the greats. Stephen was the moderator for one of the screenings for our daughter's film the other night, and it was such a sweet feeling because he's known her since she was a kid, so it's very moving. Yeah.
I sent him a text asking him what time he was going out there because I wanted to terrorize him, but I could not get out of the editing bay. I was there for 14 hours. And I was like, I'm going to try to make it to this screening, or I will make it to
Oh
a
my God.
screening, but I want to make it to this one because I really want to harass Stephen Peterman from the audience. And he was like, he sent me
That's
a
funny.
text back going, bring it on, bring it on. I'd love to see you there. But we are of course
Yeah.
rooting for Elizabeth Guest's film. Let's call the whole
Thank you.
thing off. Uh,
Thank you so
in,
much.
incredible cast, incredible group of heroes, by the way. many of which who've helped us out with one charitable cause after another. What better reason to support an incredible holiday movie screening at the Laemmle through the 18th, I believe.
That's right.
They come out of darkness, sometimes with thunder, sometimes with lightning. Their presence means death. The prison master was afraid of him. The guards were afraid of him. The town was afraid of him. Lucifer is coming for you. Rest easy, Jack Carr said in a low tone. You're in the final 30 seconds of your life. No quarter. No quarter. Kill all masters. Coming soon